Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about the Department of Justice's motion for the court to give a very light sentence with no prison time to somebody who participated in the January 6th melee and was an oath keeper, but then immediately cooperated and was extremely helpful. Let me just start with this. This is the way the criminal justice system works. You always find defense attorneys saying, oh, these are rats and you can't trust them. And my guys are actually innocent. They really did it. And the DOJ saying, no, we don't pick our cooperators. So they come to us based on their conduct. But this is, you could call it the dirty little secret, but it's really no secret, and it really isn't dirty. The Department of Justice isn't magic. They can't go back in time and film things that happen. They almost have to make their case through the testimony of people. And so they put pressure on people to cooperate and to do it first and do it quickly. And they promise them that if they do, they will really be rewarded in their sentence. That's the way law enforcement works. That's the way big criminals are apprehended, and that there's no way around it. And this is a textbook example. So Caleb Berry, first of all, is repentant and agrees to cooperate right away. That's a big thing. You want to induce people to cooperate fast. That tends to make others want to cooperate, feel they've got to do a rush to the prosecutor's office as well, or they're going to get stuck in the cold. So that's the dynamic you want to have. He testified repeatedly, most importantly at the trial of the second in command of the Oath Keepers, Kelly Meggs. And he's the one who testified, and it was critical testimony that Meggs ordered the Oath Keepers to go to the Capitol. Remember, the number one guy, Stuart Rhodes, Mr. Eye Patch, Yale Law School, was not on site at the time. Meggs is the sort of operational leader in the field, and Caleb Berry, totally turns state evidence and gives the jury the facts that they use to convict. Berry gets 12 years. Stuart Rhodes gets 18 years. They're the big players and they deserved that time, but you needed someone to come forward. Berry, it was not easy. They have, as part of the memorandum they've submitted to the court, accounts that he literally sweated through all his clothes during his testimony. He was terrified. It was emotionally turbulent. And that's part of it also. I can tell you this from being a prosecutor, you get somebody to turn and cooperate and you promise them you'll be, on their side at the end. But in the meantime, they've got to give it all to you, be totally truthful. If they lie on you or whatever, you basically throw them out and they're in worse, case than ever. But the notion of nasty prosecutors kind of fooling rats into telling the, falsehoods, that's just not how it works. You get them, you make them tell the truth, you promise them a big reward, and you deliver. And if you don't deliver, it won't work for next time. There's honor among thieves, and you need to be able to be trusted when you tell someone. And so now is the time. Caleb Berry is to be sentenced on October 25th. So the DOJ has come through with its part. They've said this guy should get 3 years probation and no jail time for the crimes. Since he was first approached in June 2021, he's been cooperative. He's been forthright. He testified in the grand jury. He testified at 2 trials. He did everything we asked him to do. As I mentioned, He was under huge strain. This is the DOJ talking. He literally soaked his clothing with sweat during the testimony. So taking all these factors into account, we urge the court. It's up to the court, but you don't lie to the witness anyway. You say this is what it's going to be. We'll recommend to the court, but there are some judges who will sometimes second guess these things, but they also understand the system doesn't work, and their lives would be made miserable if you couldn't have plea bargains driven by promises of a government that the judge is there at least to, give great deference to. So here we have, you may have heard of the guidelines that have a grid based on conduct on one side and criminal history on the other. What they've technically asked for is a 7-level reduction in the guidelines, taking a long prison sentence all the way down to a non-custodial sentence, 3 years on probation. So, a big reduction on the one hand. On the other hand, fully justified by Barry's complete cooperation. Also his expression of regret. He wrote the officers letter of apology. He's a model cooperator. The DOJ performs its role just as it's supposed to. This is the way it works, and it's supposed to work. And really, without this kind of dynamic, basically 80% of crime would not be prosecuted effectively. This looks, when you look right at it, we're staring into maybe the underbelly of the justice system, but it is the real thing. It's how things happen. And of course, it totally depends on DOJ being honest, never suborning perjury, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But just to be aware, because so often you hear accusations at trial of what a dirty rat the witness is. This is how things work. This is how federal prosecutors make cases. This is how two very, very serious offenders, the two biggest players in the Oaths Keeper, were brought to justice. And this is the appropriate aftermath that the person who cooperated, and it's hard in all kinds of ways, but it's essential for the system to work, is given a major break, as indeed he should be. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.